Today we are going to demonstrate 2 examples of physical changes. After each experiment, we will discuss why it was a physical change. In the first experiment, Braden is going to use scissors to cut a piece of paper. Look closely as he cuts the paper. As he is cutting, ask yourself, is the paper still paper? You should have answered yes to this question. Just because the paper is a different shape and a different size doesn't change the fact that it is still paper. Since we didn't change the substance, this makes this experiment an example of a physical change. Now that we have seen an experiment with changing the shape and size, let's look at an experiment that changes phases. Braden is going to take ice cubes and set them in a hot pan. Immediately, we see 2 things happen. 1, we see steam, and 2, we see the ice melting. For this experiment, I want you to ask yourself, is the ice cube still made from the water as it melts? Once again, you should have answered yes to this question. Braden did not change what the ice cube was made from, so therefore, it is still an example of a physical change. Now, let's look at 2 experiments that are examples of chemical changes. After each experiment, we will discuss why it is an example of a chemical change. In this first experiment, Braden is going to mix together baking soda and vinegar. Any thoughts of what will happen? Let's look closely at what happens when these 2 materials combine. Do you see the bubbles forming? These bubbles are created because there is a gas being released. The presence of this gas, which is carbon dioxide, is evidence that we have a chemical change. Another reason why this is a chemical change is because we cannot separate the 2 materials back out. We are now ready for the second experiment. In front of Braden, he has a bowl of red-colored water and a small amount of bleach. Braden is going to pour the bleach into the colored water. Watch closely as Braden mixes the bleach into the colored water. The color change that you saw is proof that a chemical change took place. When something changes color and cannot be undone, a chemical change has happened. A physical change changes a material's shape, size, or phase. Physical changes can usually be reversed. A chemical change changes a material's color, produces an odor, forms a precipitate, or produces a gas. Chemical changes usually cannot be reversed.